this Ottawa thing coming from?
I don't know. I thought you might know him from
Oh,
Ottawa.
no.
So I met Billy. Where did I meet you?
Where did we meet?
You at 700 King Street West?
Where did we meet? We met through Sully, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I don't even remember how I met Sully. Maybe through Roger Gingrich. I think I did some, like, you guys did.
Yeah, no, way before that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Before that photo shoot that we did?
Yeah.
That was way before that.
Oh, we met
That was
before that?
years before that, because
Well, we sit the
I remember that time that we were at the beach. And we'd smoked a little bit. We had gotten into some good conversation.
I feel like that was after. That was with my
before you left.
with my sister-in-law, who you and George offered to have a threesome with.
Did we?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Hilarious.
You drove her, and then
I think George probably offered.
Yeah. I was a little pissed by that.
Were you?
Yeah, of course I was.
I'd support George more than I don't think I was in on that. I don't think
that was my sister.
I don't think I was in on that. Honestly,
that's a good way to start.
I don't think I was in on that one at all. Actually,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, because
I was kind of pissed. I took a break. I took a break because I was
From
like,
Sully?
I took a break. I was like, but that was like well after. That was well after we met.
Yeah, I think
like, we were already good buddies by then, and then you guys offered.
Don't say you guys. I think because it was George. Because
I
do not remember that.
Offered my sister a threesome, and I was like, they did. I mean, she was freshly divorced from my brother, so I'm sure she was. I'm sure she was.
It's not me, buddy. I don't roll that way.
I'm sure she was like flattered by it because two young strapping men like offering to accommodate her.
About this. This is so awkward.
All right, welcome to the City Podcast. I'm Steve.
Yeah, man. So
Chad,
this is
and our
Chad.
guest is Billy.
And today we have my very good friend Billie Mintz on the microphone, the 1-2s and the 3s here in Toronto, Canada. This is a City Podcast. Once again, everybody, thank you for all your downloads that you've been doing, listening to our jibber jabber and our shit talk the whole time. But we've had some interesting conversations with a lot of people, so I know that you guys are enjoying it. Thanks for the comments as well too on the social media platforms. I think in the next couple of weeks we're going to start answering your questions, because a lot of questions, a lot of requests for some people that you guys want to hear on the podcast, and we're going to do our best. We got some good news coming up this month as well too. Probably by the end of this month, you guys are going to be super stoked to hear what we got going on.
And we might even start advertising soon too.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're gonna hear more of us, man. Everybody gonna hear more of us. Our non-adulterated, non-political
in the
talk.
T-Dot, in the Tirana. So introduce yourself, Billy.
Well, my name is Billy. I am a documentary filmmaker. I am from Toronto. What else can I say? I live in Los Angeles, Venice Beach, on the beach. Storyteller. I don't know. I kind of shy away from
self-promo.
Yeah, telling people what I do.
This is that Canadian thing.
I avoid.
That is very Canadian, actually.
I avoid that conversation at parties.
Well, most importantly, you find it insulting when someone comes up and goes, "Hey, I'm Kim," and you're like, "Oh, hi, I'm Billy." She goes, "What do you do?"
Yeah,
it's kind of insulting.
Yeah, I think that it's our go-to when we talk about, when we meet people. Everybody wants to know what everybody else does, and I gloss over it, or I make it up. I usually make it up. Yeah.
Why is that?
I've been a firefighter
now that you're in LA, everybody's got the attitude, and if you're doing something big, that's obviously going to lead to bigger things, or
they want a piece of you.
Or they want a piece of you. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to carry like fake cards around, like. Oh, no way.
Is that from work or?
I just salvage people's business cards, and so when they give it to me, I just hand them out. I hand other people's cards out.
You take recycling. Later.
Yeah, I just like.
That's the Canadian in you.
Yeah, I used to carry my father's business cards. He was a principal of a high school.
Oh, nice.
And so when I go to parties and everybody was doing the schmooze, I would hand out my father's business cards, and it says high school principal. So,
and your dad probably got a lot of calls.
Yeah, and the legitimacy of if you were to tell people that you were a filmmaker, or you were to tell people you were a high school principal, people are way more interested in you being a high school principal than a filmmaker, because every schmuck in the world is a filmmaker these days. But like not everybody is a high school principal.
True.
I'm proud of my father, so I try to rep him whenever I can.
Was he here in Toronto or?
Yeah, he was a high school principal up in Thornhill.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Is that where you're from?
I'm from Thornhill. Grew up in the suburbs. This is when Thornhill was a suburb among farms.
Yeah.
It was all just farms around. There was no.
See what had property actually living back then.
Yeah, there was no. Right now, if you go up to Thornhill, you can keep going all the way to Barrie. But back in the day, when you went to Thornhill, there was this intense farmland all the way, and then cities only started again in Barrie. So, but now it's pavement all the way through.
Yeah, it just feels like your backyard.
That's
just
true.
Keeps going.
Keeps going. Yeah.
All the way up north. Yeah. So, Mr. Billie Mintz, you've been doing a lot of filming over the past, let's say 7 years, if not longer. We're 2017, so probably not close to 10 years now. Because you did Ponzi scheme.
That was in 2008.
2008.
But that was already my second feature film.
Was that commissioned, or did you do that on your own?
No, I did that one on my own. I was the victim of a Ponzi scheme.
Okay.
I found out that I got billed for $20,000, and I knew right away that I stepped into my next story. So I didn't know anything about a Ponzi scheme. So I went on a road trip to look for the guy who stole my money and everybody else's money.
And you brought your camera along with you?
Yeah, I brought a crew, two guys that were just starting out.
Now, was that at a film house or self-financed?
Oh no, I mean I was just saying the two guys that came out, they just started, so they were pretty much free labor, as I was. I mean, listen, and now I'm doing much better, but there's not much money to make in this business, and I think people come into this business with these expectations of getting paid, and then I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'm like I still have expectations of getting paid. So it's
not over yet, though.
Yeah, no, it's a process. It's an ongoing process.
Isn't that what they say about all art, though? Is that you learn to love the process, and the art's just the end result.
Yeah, and hopefully somewhere along the way you can pay your rent.
Yeah, I've heard that many times.
Yeah. I actually just got offered recently by this really wonderful woman who is a sex worker, and she said that if I would put on a wig and wear makeup, that she could do really well. We could do really well selling me as a tranny.
Wow. So in other words, your bills are going to be paid.
Yeah, I mean, she was like, we can make a lot of money. She was, and then I thought I was flattered, and but then she kept going. She was serious.
Serious about this.
Oh yeah, she wanted to.
So it wasn't a shtick. She was actually hustling you.
She was hustling me. She wanted to market me as a tranny, and I was like, I don't think that would work. I don't think I'd be good at that. I don't think I'd be able to perform. And then she explained to me that you actually don't need to. You can be the bottom.
Oh God!
And she was really serious about it. And actually, since we talked about it, I've been like thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about it. It's
But
like
being the bottom or being a tranny?
either. Like making some money.
Have you tried the dress on at least?
No, I never went there.
When she shows up at your house and she goes, I got a couple options here.
But there was a moment where I was like, I thought I was going to be sex trafficked. Like there was a moment where I thought she was going to kidnap me.
Where was that?
At my house. She came over.
I thought you were going to say I paid her. She laughed.
No. We've known each other for years on social media, and we decided to get together. And and I got an education in that in the time we spent. It was very enlightening.
Being in the line of business you're in,
yeah,
you kind of have to be open to a lot of things. So in other words, just this as an example, you're more intuitive and more, I guess, open.
Well, I'm a storyteller, so I sort of go through the world looking for stories. Yeah. And when you do that for as long as I've been doing it, stories start coming to you. And so it really just becomes like I get to be a witness of some pretty amazing things that happen in the world that most people don't hear about it. And it's kind of the job of the documentarian to pick one of those stories and bring it to the world. And it's about finding the stories that interest you.
So say, for example, years ago when you were first starting out, would you be out looking for stories? And then over time you kind of start to tune in, and your perception's open enough that you can see stories actually coming to you that you were just running away from the stories before by chasing them.
Yeah.
Just opening yourself up, and you can realize that just everyday life, it's understanding what's around you and analyze it and finding the fun in it. Just what's interesting.
I think there's an intention that you go looking for a story. And so I remember my first time that I wanted to make a documentary, I had meetings with people that I really respected, and I said, I'm looking for a story, I'm looking for an important story. And the first meeting I had, a story was pitched to me about a young boy who had cancer, at 9 years old, and ended up raising more money than any other individual in Canada for cancer awareness. And and then he, because of the changes he went through from chemotherapy and radiation, he experienced a loss of friends and a lot of fear around him because other kids thought they could catch cancer from him. Wow. And so that was my first film to make.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah. And then it becomes to the fact of like, you get so inundated with looking for stories that it opens up. It's like hitting the next level of a video game. It opens up and then you just have stories coming at you. It's so much that the film that I'm making right now, I went on a search for a story, and I just followed my intuition, and I heard the voice inside me that says, "Go to Serbia. You're going to find your story in Serbia." Wow. And I went to Serbia, and within 5 minutes, I met somebody who asked me what I was doing in Serbia, and I said, "I'm looking for my story." And he kind of had a chuckle, and he called his buddy up on Skype and said, "Hey, I got a filmmaker here from Canada who's looking for a story." And they both started laughing.
And they're like, "We got one for you."
And he pointed to his cupboard. I opened up his cupboard, and there was like brand new state-of-the-art film equipment, like right off the press. And he said, "We've been holding on to this story. We just bought all this equipment, and we're looking for a director." And that's how I found the story that I'm working on right now. And that took me to France, to New York, and now I'm telling a story in Las Vegas. But it really just comes to the fact of like, I'm a filmmaker, but really I'm a storyteller, and sort of like the troubadours that, would travel through the land with their instruments. And that's sort of the mythological space that I like to fill.
That's that's a fantastic story.
Yeah, that's just
actually,
one of
is
many.
it as good as the story though? That you
The
can't
story
tell
I
us about
found,
yet?
the story that I found is definitely not only the most intense story that I've dealt with, but when I tell this story to people, it's the most intense story they've ever heard. It's the largest crime that's been happening in America for the last 40 years that nobody knows about, and it's happening right under our noses, and it's the scariest thing you can even imagine.
Is it child? Really?
It's very close to that. It's I can't talk about it because it's an investigation that I've been a part of undercover for 3 years.
Wow.
And so I'm like right on the trail of the perpetrators, and so they can't really know what I'm up to. So there's nothing online. There's no website.
No traces of it.
Yeah.
Now something like that, do you end up fearing for your life even?
Well, that is the genre of the stories that I tell, is the fact that, I walk up to doors. Yeah, I walk up to doors, and you're watching me walk up to a door that there's some sinister person behind that door, and they could have a shotgun. And this is America too. The stories that I tell are American based. So it's kind of the genre, and it's sort of what I do. And I mean, the story that I'm involved in right now, sometimes when I'm on location, I wake up at 3:00 in the morning thinking somebody broke into my house. So there's definitely a lot of paranoia that comes with it, but that's also the entertainment value. And I've always been one that sort of got myself involved in my own stories for entertainment purposes. And I don't write them, I actually get involved in them.
Yeah, you experience it.
Yeah, so there is definitely a threat.
Honesty just bleeds through.
Yeah, and there's a threat. I mean, I could die on this project, for sure. It doesn't cost any money for very wealthy people without any morals to off somebody.
Well, as they say, disappear.
Yeah, and especially in parts of the States where there's desert.
I mean, even with the Ponzi scheme, there's a point where right before you got to the guy's door, and you're pretty pale, you're pretty scared because you had a lot of emotions going on. Not one that you might have been just pissed off, but also to what is the repercussions of me knocking on this door and actually talking, and what's going to happen? What is this guy's response going to be when I'm saying, "Hey, listen, you're the guy that ripped me off on your Ponzi scheme"?
Right. Yeah. I mean, walking up to the door of the person that I'd spent the last month looking for, I was excited that I found him. I mean, this is a guy who stole $200 million from people all across America. I'd spent weeks finding all of the victims, and then I found the guy. I found where he lived. I kind of turned into a private investigator, and I found where he lived, and he bought this huge $4 million house off of all of our money, and he just bought it a week ago. And going up to his door, knocking on his door, anything can happen in that moment. Especially somebody who is immoral, you don't know what you're walking into, and you've got a camera that's
You already know the guy's immoral.
And you got a camera 20 feet away that if I get shot, at least it'll make good cinema.
Yeah.
You know,
Someone
I mean, and
dial
that's
911.
yeah, that's what you're watching. That's the entertainment value.
And I think a lot of people right now want to see that out of everything. If you were to get shot, I think a lot of people would actually like to see that.
Right. Yeah, we tried to get the budget to hire a secret film crew in the project that I'm working on right now that they wouldn't know about, so that if I do get assassinated, at least somebody's filming me. So it
That's
wouldn't.
insane.
So it wouldn't.
And you're willing to take this.
You know, when people ask me, "Am I scared?" I've always been a troublemaker, and I'm a professional troublemaker. So, and that's kind of my shtick, and that's what I'm. You know, like Jackass, those guys use their jokesters to like make their mark in the world. I think my mark in the world that I'm making is like the courage to take on bad people and turn it into entertainment at their sake. So I have a strong faith in God. I've got a strong faith that either I'm going to be all right, or if I'm going to die, then there'll be like 100 virgins waiting for me, you know, in the other world.
Only 100.
Yeah. So.
And that's where the money comes into play, like Vincent van Gogh, the artist.
Right.
Interesting story. So like now National Geographic.
Right.
You hid that from people for a while, but now you're well underway.
Yeah.
With National Geographic, which is massive for everybody that's probably in the age group of 35.
Yeah, I grew
all
up
the
with
way
that.
up.
Yeah,
Even
I mean
30. I mean, like.
I think my parents got that for their wedding. One of their wedding gifts was a subscription to National
Yeah,
Geographic.
it's the largest. It's the largest brand in the world, National Geographic. Like just to say that you work with National Geographic, everybody lights up
No,
because
it's exciting.
whether they are reading National Geographic now or watching the show now, everybody lights up because it's a part of our, it's a part of our culture is
100%.
National Geographic. Because when you're a kid, and especially me growing up in the suburbs, you think the world revolves around you. And as children, we think the world until you look at a National Geographic and you see that there's a world outside, and it kind of cracks all of our bubbles. This publication. So it's in what I do. I hustle. I've been hustling for 20 years as a filmmaker. You don't make money in this business, and you just do it for to make it and to get into National Geographic. It's like getting to the NFL. It's like getting to the big leagues. So
and they provide you with a half decent budget as well, do they not? Because their quality is at a certain level.
Yeah, this is a top notch network. So
who would you think would be so the standard, like, I lost for words for a sec.
Yeah.
But National Geographic, like growing up with it, you see them at garage sales, you see them at people's houses, restaurants, and like everywhere. It's a part of our society, and we all look at like if. You're watching something online and there's that little yellow square that for National Geographic, that's the right one.
Yeah.
It's quality, right? So you're going to take a second to check it out, or even like, how they release their new movies and whatnot. You're going to check them out. You put the effort into it versus like, time or like, nothing's comparable really to National Geographic.
Right.
But what's the next step up for that?
I think it's just to keep going, possibly get my own show, do something that's more driven from my creative. I have some say in this show, but it's a large entity and there's a lot of us. There's a bunch of us. I'm a correspondent in the show. So,
a lot of moving parts then.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. And there's this is my entrance to professional investigative journalism. So,
which is an interesting
twist.
Because as a photographer, you were talking earlier about photography, is to make it as a National Geographic photographer, that's like
right.
That's the
that's the be all of end all.
Of course,
you're sitting in the Amazon or Africa somewhere for 2 weeks in one spot trying to get one shot. Like that's what I think of when I think of like the pinnacle for a photographer, not fashion or something like that. It's National Geographic.
Yeah.
That's the one.
My first assignment, I was commissioned to go to the highlands of Sulawesi, Indonesia, in the jungle to see how a small sect of Indonesian people do the funeral ritual.
Yeah, okay.
And so here I am, like, Joseph Campbell style, going, it's a 52-hour journey to this place. From here. Yeah, it took 52 hours to get there.
How many canoe rides?
Well, no canoes, but it was from the last airport, it was a 12-hour drive into the mountains.
Wow.
And to get there and see how people bury their dead. and like how they approach funerals, which is completely different than the way we do it. Just to have that assignment, was the most amazing thing, to like go out there on behalf of National Geographic to get a story.
One?
That was my first assignment. That's how I started off.
Did you get like a paper in the mail or in the middle envelope because it's confidential and you open it up?
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that. You get your assignment. You get it's not in the mail, but you get an email or a producer calls you saying, hey, this is what we're doing. Would you be, and then they ask the question, would you be interested in this? And I'm like,
damn straight.
I'm like,
Let
no.
me check my schedule.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I don't think that's my thing. I don't think that's my thing. And they're like,
sure,
really?
You can't do something in Australia or
Yeah,
Paris.
yeah. I'd rather, So it's just, you work really hard in this business, and then you get this, you get this bone. And
That's a pretty big bone. I know a few guys in the. Actually, I have a few friends that are directors. They went mainly in commercial, done some independents, and a few guys that work in NABED and IATSE, and I worked for a bit in film in the art department. And one of the things I noticed for everybody, a lot of the young coming up, was everybody's putting their time in, right? And in that industry, there didn't seem to be that much money really around. So to be financed to do something outside of the commercial world, you know what I mean? It's a bigger deal, right? When you're going to, like, who do you have to go to? CBC? A production house? Anything production house is pretty low budget. It's minimal, you know what I mean?
It's
and
really hard to
Canadian
find
production television show that's put on. You can usually tell it's a Canadian production, by the lighting or the quality or.
I don't think is that still. I think that's a.
It's starting to fade, but you can still kind of tell, right?
Yeah.
And it's not. Sometimes it's because they're trying to hide the shot that you're in Toronto, that you notice it because you live. You know what I mean? Versus it just being a natural face here. So kind of what I was going to get at is it still hard for independent guys to find the financing, to get the backing, or even once you get the project done, how do you get the Canadian companies behind you to help you push it even?
It's next to impossible to finance a film.
So if someone's young and up and coming and they're like following your career,
I would just, do it the way I did it. Just go make it. You don't really actually need money to do stuff, to learn your craft. The cameras are cheap now. You can just do it. Find something that's self-contained that you can do in a couple weeks. Make something easy. The bigger the film project is, the more budget you need, the more likely you will not make that film.
Because
there's no money. I mean,
or?
Jesustown, USA, we made it for maybe. I think in the end it probably came to like $450,000,
which is nothing in that
which
world.
is nothing in that world. And I think it's made maybe luckily if we even gotten anywhere near $100,000. And that's we played on CBC Documentary Channel, we played on Showtime Network USA, we're with Netflix, we played in a bunch of places around the world.
You in Hot Dogs?
We were in Hot Dogs. It was a very successful film, but they don't make any money. There's no business, and it's a real eye awakener for people when they put all this time and money into something, and they're lucky to make any money.
You, or do you get pissed off when you see a guy like Michael Moore?
No,
I mean millions of dollars off of this.
No, but that's what you work for. You work for Michael Moore. You work for Morgan Spurlock. You work for Errol Morris. There's very few people in those positions that are doing extremely well, and they make really good movies, and they're in the upper echelon. Joe Berlinger, who made the Paradise Lost movies, and he made the most recently, what's his name? The Tony Robbins movie.
Yeah, I still have to watch
amazing
that.
movie.
Is that good?
He's an amazing filmmaker. I mean, these are the top dogs that people like myself, we work our asses off to get to that position.
Do those guys reach down and help pull up, help finance?
I think so. Yeah.
Set up. Do you know what I mean?
They are the industry. Like
so they can help the vision continue.
Yeah, Morgan Spurlock has got his hands in so many filmmakers. I mean, that's to get the meeting with Warrior Poets, which is Morgan Spurlock's company. Like that's like going to Disney World, And I've had that meeting. I've gone into the doors
to Disney World.
To Warrior Poets. I've gone into those doors, and it's like those are like your heroes. The people who have, came up when the industry wasn't what it is now. They were the pioneers of the industry. So, I mean, that's you work. So no, I don't get pissed off. Those are amazing filmmakers that I aspire to be like, and they inspire me. Michael Moore is, he's the reason I'm making movies. Errol Morris is the reason I'm making movies. I saw their movies. I learned about Roger and Me. It was the first movie I saw, and then I saw Thin Blue Line for Errol Morris. And these are movies of social justice, of these people that are using cameras in order to
tell a story of the people.
Not just tell a story of the people, of redemption and activism, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to make a difference, and knowing that camera is the way to do that. So
it's pretty interesting nowadays. Like let's go across the board. I only know a few, but there's Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, I think it is.
Yeah.
And there's a few other.
There's a couple of new ones.
Yeah.
There's one specific documentaries now.
Yeah. And aside from like the documentary channel, but these guys, like, there's so many different outlets now for. And I know myself, I love documentaries.
Yeah.
And you can only, before it was kind of like you had to look online, you know what I mean? Or you had to
wait for it to come out.
Watch the Discovery Channel or something, and it would pass through. Do you know what I mean?
It's a great thing for the world that there are so many documentaries. That's amazing that so many people are talking about 13. So many people are talking about all these issues that they're learning about through documentary filmmakers. It is not a good thing for documentary filmmakers and the industry, because places like Netflix and Hulu, they are being every day approached with thousands of finished documentaries that were self-financed. They do not need to give a lot of money. So it's not a sustainable industry. It's good for the world that everybody's doing this, because the world's waking up right now, which is amazing. And a lot of that is because of what filmmakers are doing. Like most of the people that I know in life and that I associate with are other documentary filmmakers. And they're unbelievably amazing, selfless people that have completely, sacrificed their life. They're all poor. They're all, getting by, and they're so passionate about what they're doing and about getting their message out to people, and it's not even their message. It's when you're a documentary filmmaker, you become an advocate for the story that you're telling. And then it's like those people are relying on the documentary filmmaker. They're not relying on the journalist. They're not relying on the police. They're not relying on the government or politicians. They're relying on documentary filmmakers. Yeah. So when you go to a film festival, a documentary film festival, you have all of these people who have descended into the city where the film festival, and they are the smartest, most aware, most awake, most active people in the universe. And it's like the UN meeting, but they do more than the UN. A film festival, you will find more caring, proactive individuals at a film festival, at a documentary film festival, than you will find at the UN.
These guys have gone out there and lived with the people.
And put their lives at risk. They've put their economic situations at risk. Most filmmakers that you meet have PTSD for the situations that they've been in, because they're struggling. They're not paying their rent. They're working tirelessly 17, 18, 19-hour days in order to get their story done.
So what's your thoughts then, not to keep flooding the questions in here, I'm highly interested. What's your thoughts then on citizen journalists and what's kind of like taking over the net and almost, so two parts, citizen journalists, and then bounce that to what Vice kind of does, which is a slicker version of a citizen journalist.
Right. Yeah.
But it's kind of more of a skewed pushing in a direction that they want it to go versus the citizen is more, it's raw. Obviously, they're looking out from their interest as well.
I just think it's amazing that anybody at any time can pick up their phone and film something and take on something.
Yeah, you don't need a red camera.
No, you certainly don't. In fact, our phones now shoot the same resolution as a red camera. So you don't need 4K either. I mean, we're all cell phone film savvy. Like, we all know how to watch the quality of a cell phone. And so it doesn't really matter. It's like, I just think it's amazing that we have a completely activated and more a population that's like waking up. And that's why I say God bless Trump, because Trump is waking all of us up. Like, Trump is doing such incredulous, like, terrible things that people are so upset about, whether it's hype or not.
The coma.
And everybody's waking up.
You have no
and
choice
so
now.
Yeah, everybody's waking up. So I remember when Facebook started, I saw this as an unbelievable platform for social activism. I was like always,
Versus
data
mining.
Yeah, I was always trying to get, everybody's doing selfies and I'm like, hey,
engaging.
like wake up. Like this is a topic that you need to be interested in. Now, that's all Facebook is.
Yeah.
Well, what's not banned?
Yeah, I mean, right. It's like there's this whole...
depending on what you're feeding into.
Like, in considered to generalize things, the left side, which is the Democrats referred to as the left, used to be very big government orientated, right? And the right used to be anti-government, kind of like, conspiracy, whatever.
Right.
Now you've kind of flipped the script. Everything's upside down. You've got the big government people out protesting government, and then the unquote right actually trying to get behind a government. Like we're living in an upside down world.
Right.
And exactly that is what you said with Trump. He woke everybody up. So now you've got the right that was already awake, like, protesting and voicing their opinions and digging into things and investigating. Now the left is like starting to scratch on the surface. Soon enough, you may have an American culture where everybody's aware of what's actually going on out there.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're calling each other out on their bullshit, finally.
Yeah.
It's going to filter, it's going to settle soon enough. And it's going to be more or less like citizen journalists are going to be the truth.
Well,
That's what's happening.
Now more than ever, people are running for government. People of all different cultures are running for government. People that are extremely involved in issues. Everybody's stepping up now. So I think we're going to see in the next 4 years a complete change of political climate where there is a way more people represented government. Like, I think we're going through a major change.
The complacent generation's expired. And we're not going to put
apathy is over
or anything on that. You know what I mean? It's like it's like reaping the benefits of a city for so many years and not putting money back into it. Like Toronto right now.
Yeah.
The infrastructure and everything is so fucked right now. Like, money needs to be poured in. It's going to need it for the next couple generations to get Toronto back up and running fully. But we had a few generations just sat around and smoked cigars and just said, this is the best city, whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, do you find that what we're talking about here, that people are going to have their own self-interest? Because even inside of, say, the rally that happened, with the women, Black Lives Matter had a problem with that. And inside that, they also had the genders, can I say transgender? Is that right? Can I say that?
Sure. Say what you
Transgenders?
want. As long as we
as long as I don't say
understand each other, that's all that matters.
No, tranny and transgender are
two different things.
Totally different things.
The LBQTL or whatever that is, because I'm going to say it like that because I don't know what it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you guys know what I'm saying. They had a problem with it as well too. So it seems like everybody has their own self-interest in what's going on and not coming together as a conglomerate. You got the right, you also got the left, but inside that, there's still people that have their own self-interest.
Yeah, but who's co-opting it all for one thing? That's what's kind of happening.
Yeah. I don't know if it's media related or, you know what I mean, or if it's people are waking up, or they're only waking up to their own interest once again about like,
but you got to start somewhere.
What's going to help me out?
You got to start. You got to start somewhere. I mean, everybody has their issue that they're concerned about, and we hear every day about something different. And I don't think that's a problem. I think that we've built up this social media for a platform for all of us, as opposed to, back in the day, 20 years ago, you had to write a press release in order to get news to talk about something. Now you don't have to do that. You can completely be self-generated and create your own campaign.
It's the total world of DIY.
Yeah. And it's amazing because you don't there's no reason to be passive. You don't need to sit in your couch and watch TV and what's being sent to you. You can get on Facebook or you can get online and spend hours going down wormholes. And a lot of it is and there's a lot of misinformation. But I think we're working that stuff out. I'm an optimist, so I think that I love waking up in the morning and looking at my Facebook.
It's crazy.
And seeing what people are talking about, and then seeing who's talking about it, and getting to know people on my Facebook based on what they're publicizing. And
a lot of people are not thinking; they're just reacting. It's kind of like what Denzel Washington.
A lot of people are thinking, not reacting. There are also people that are thinking above and beyond. I'm finding a lot of people are thinking above and beyond, and actually really calling it out. And then when you're not on Facebook, but the comments that are going down, dude, it's insane of the polarizing. Me and you can be friends for years.
Totally.
And then all of a sudden,
your views on, I don't know, the immigration or whatever's going on with that is totally different. I never knew that, but you were raised around me. But then you have the comments that are going down with two different friends are incredible. Like, they're really saying, like, listen, we can't be friends on this anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of saying, okay, like, hold on. Let me just shut up. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? We can just shut up and listen to what your point of perspective is, because you're your own person and I'm my own person. And we can agree to disagree, but still come together and figure out a solution. Where a lot of people, it's not happening. It's kind of happening. People are seeing it.
I think
it'll come through, but a lot of citizen journalists are showing actually what's really happening. And you're actually seeing the lack of dialogue. Like guys one person who's fully aware to his core what he thinks is happening, trying to converse with somebody else. Yeah. Someone else just starts slanging words like bigot, racist.
Yeah.
Just, you know what? They're throwing these words
There's
out
a lot of name calling now.
There's nothing being resolved, and there's no discourse. So what ends up happening is it looks like, from someone who has no point of view other than just watching what's happened, someone's having a suck attack, saying a bunch of names, and then running away. Now what happens is this has been happening a lot on a large scale. These words are very important words. And the reason why they're a topic of discussion is because they're hurtful and they carry pain with them. However, the more they're used, as reckless as they have been, the meaning of those words and the impact slowly fades away. Right. So soon enough, all these words that they're slinging at each other,
gotta stop.
However many years from now, it's not going to mean shit. It's going to call someone cocksucker, fuck you. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. I still think that
guys that speak like that on a regular basis.
I still think that there's, if you have a different opinion, if you're inviting somebody to talk on your news feed and you ask a question and somebody answers it, and then you immediately attack that person as being an idiot, it's just not a way to have a conversation. And I erase those people. I erase those people. But what happens is that everybody is erasing everybody. Yeah. And then you only have the people that agree with you that you're talking with, and that's where the bubbles, the echo chamber happens.
Anybody.
Yeah,
you're surrounded by the same.
We just need to learn how to talk. But I think on a positive thing, I think everybody's listening. I think people are listening. Like, I'll say something on Facebook, and people are actually listening, and that's new. That people are willing to listen and
pay attention. You mean? Or?
Yeah, they're listening. They're reading. People are reading. Yeah. People are reading. Even if I put when I approach somebody on the street that's following my Facebook, they know so much about my Facebook, even though they're not commenting on it. So people are listening. So it's it's important that
that's what you mean. So they're reading. Sorry.
Yeah, they're reading. Yeah, sorry, they're listening. They're reading. So now I know when I put something out, let's say I only get 10 comments, I know that way more people are paying attention, and then we're having conversations on our own in our own social world based on what people are putting on Facebook. So back to the citizen journalist thing, I just think we are all watching. Yep. We're all watching, and we all have a voice. We all have a voice.
Yeah. So being in the States right now, I mean, you're there.
Yeah.
What's the
consensus? Are you actually documenting anything when you're down there? Because
there's enough going on history, about man. That. Yeah.
That's why I think the citizen journal is so important.
Yeah, I think there's enough going on. I actually haven't been in the States since Trump's become president. I mean, I was there through the entire elections. That was a trip to watch that. And I've been deleted so many times from my Trump supporting friends. I've had to make personal phone calls to people just to make sure that we're okay, that we're cool.
It's ridiculous that you have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, but people are extremely reactive. See, any relationship in life, whether it be with your family, whether it be with your friends, I feel refused by you, I'm going to refuse back. And that's all relationship. You can take any relationship, whether it's with the bus driver, with your Uber driver, with the person in the bank. If you feel refused, you're going to refuse back.
Human nature.
And that's what's going on right now, is that we have to manage those, because somebody comes over to your house, they say something, and it's rude what they say. I feel refused. I refuse back, and it starts this perpetual motion and you got to be able to break out of it. You need the maturity to say, "Hey, I felt refused. I refuse back. I'm sorry. I apologize. We can either go down this road and keep conflict, or we can stop this right now and start again and just be like, hey, I'm sorry."
or talk it out.
Talk it out. Yeah.
Or
No,
hug it
Yeah.
out, then talk
Yeah,
it out.
yeah. And what's happening is there's a great polarizing that's happening
They
between
say divide to conquer.
yeah,
right?
and that's what's going on. I mean,
100%.
I know that Trump is just provoking people. Like he is deliberately provoking people, and and there are so many people that are afraid right now. There is an entire gender that is completely pissed off. Women are completely pissed off because this misogynist, unapologetic person is now the president of the free world, and it sends a huge message, and that's like a tactic. Like I watch this stuff and I know that there's something
a name for it, actually.
There's something going on. There's something going on way beyond, and it's purely just fucking with us.
I think going on this rabbit hole that I've been saying this a long time, that the order has already been put into play, and now he understands what the order is, because they're all in. When you're in that high echelon of money, you have these type of conversations with people that are common like you, like people that are in politics that are high up there, people that have a lot of money that are influencing the finances and the banks and that kind of stuff. So they have these conversations. He's been there for 30 years. He knows what's going on since Reagan. So I think the order's already been in play. I don't think he took it serious. He did everything possible not to get elected. And now he's elected. Okay, so the order's already in play. You can do whatever you want. And we'll just control this by how the emotions and people interact with one another. Like if they don't come together as one soon enough to figure it out, then we're going to take the stance and we're going to control it, whether it has to be through martial law, taking away the Second Amendment rights, or whatever happens. We can go down this rabbit hole. But this is what I'm thinking at the end of the day. This is what's going on. This is what I see, because asinine is asinine. What he's doing is absolutely crazy, and nobody's doing anything about it. But going to start rioting, going to start punching people in the face, whatever have you, on camera so it can be seen, and blowing things up. Eventually, that's what it's going to come to. At the end of the day, the order's already in play. I think we've already been defeated in that essence of like we now fear anything the government does instead of the government doing for us. And it's a scary time, but he's just the puppet that's now able to do whatever. I think even Obama might have been in the puppet back then of just doing, because the order was already in play then. It's like he was doing stuff.
He was just smooth.
Well,
he was just very smooth, but he was doing stuff.
In 2011 or 13, the law that he put into play was
What's going on right now?
It was introduced by Obama.
Was it introduced by Bush?
No, I think it was introduced or tweaked by Obama. Yeah, so basically, it's already been in. The whole thing, everything that's happening, he said, he gave speeches to thousands of people, went on TV and said, this is what I'm going to do. And guess what happened? The American people elected him to do it. Now he's doing what he said he was going to do, and people are pulling their fucking hair out. It's the most insane situation in the history of mankind.
I was in Washington 2 days before the inauguration, and I was sitting in like one of the main buildings, and there was a picture of Obama. And
when he first went in?
There's just in all the buildings, in all the government buildings, there's a big picture of Obama, the president. And I just thought, like, I had this epiphany, like, oh my God, all these buildings are going to have pictures of Donald Trump. Oh, yeah. And I just thought, like, this guy has done so much for himself. Yeah. And now he's the president of the United States, and his picture is going to be all around the world, all around buildings. Like, it's unbelievable.
He's the winner.
It's unbelievable what he's done. Yeah. And kudos to him for getting this far. It's unbelievable.
Let's see if he actually was touched by what happened when he was traveling across the country and actually saw the common people, whatever fucking he says came to him. See if he actually goes out and does some good, to be determined. You know what I mean? Right. Obviously, he has. This is the first thing he has to do. Everyone has to be smart enough to realize this. Everything he said he was going to do, he has to go in there and start doing it, or else guess what happens? The whole quote-unquote right that was behind him and put him in office is going to join the left, unquote, and the whole fucking country is going to be against him.
Right.
That's fact.
All right, let's get off Trump.
So one thing I want to ask you is, when you, speaking of citizen journalists and stuff like that, when you do your documentaries and you do your showings, do you do Q&As after?
Sure, yeah. That's the only glory a filmmaker gets, is that hour or 15, 20 minutes afterwards, to talk about the film. Really, it comes down to that. It's the only glory a filmmaker gets.
So when you do that, you obviously travel around to different festivals, documentary festivals, not EDM festivals. Where would you find is the most satisfying place where you actually showed your documentary and the people who showed up kind of got it? And they had the questions that you actually wanted to be answered.
I mean, all questions are great to answer because there's no joy out there at all for me than having a theater full of people that are watching the work that you've labored over, and the people that are in the film that have like completely given their lives to this film. Like, there's no better feeling than to be in a theater sitting down. I sit through every screening. I sit and listen to.
These people paid.
Yeah.
They watched it.
And they're
sticking around afterwards as well.
And they're being enlightened by the story, hopefully. And then to answer their questions. I mean, everybody loves to ask questions about something. They're inquisitive, and it's really fun to be up on stage and give them answers and see like how engaged they were with your story. And they want to know things, and it's like, you know, I'm a showman. I love to be on stage. I love to perform.
Do you wear a tweed coat when you go up?
I mean, I wear different things. I think about what I'm wearing before I go. I do a little shop before I go up. You know,
nice.
Yeah. I fashion up.
You pull out your professor glasses.
No professor glasses, but I'm very deliberate what I'm wearing. You know, it's presenting. Like, you're going up to present, and you're representing all the people that worked on the film. You're representing all the people that are in the film, and it's entertainment.
So, where's your favorite spot then?
Most satisfying was definitely at Hot Docs because it's my hometown, and I've always dreamed about being in the festival.
What about TIFF? Have you ever experienced anything?
No, I never experienced, because documentaries. so you have to be like it. You have to. Yeah. You got to be. I don't think so. I don't think I've.
So Hot Docs is.
And Hot Docs, and then
as well.
and then there was one in Switzerland, in a place called Nyon, Switzerland, and they were like, I was the opening film there, and the theater was packed. Like, two screenings in one day. It was packed.
Wow.
And that was amazing because, it's Europe, very educated people, people who are, their whole town is a film festival town. So that was fun. The small town film festivals are really fun because the town revolves around the film festival.
Well, these are people that are seeking these out as well.
Yeah.
They didn't just stumble across it. They couldn't get a ticket to one show, so they ended up in Europe. Do you know what I mean? They're seeking it out.
Yeah, that's fun. It's really fun. It's fun to be in another, the last film was Jesus Town, USA, and it's a very American culture. Mm-hmm. And to show a film about American culture to a French community was really fun because you're kind of representing, Americana.
Yeah.
And they got a big kick out of it. They laughed so many places, and it's interesting.
Same places the Americans.
No, it's different. they laughed at places that I didn't even know was funny.
There you go.
Yeah, so it was great. I mean, that's what you do it for, is those moments where you get to share your story. I mean, I'm a storyteller. I love to tell stories, and so when you have an entire theater full of people that are listening to your story, and then you get to tell them more stories afterwards, there's nothing more satisfying. It's why I do it. So I certainly don't do it for the money.
Kind of like investigative journalism, right?
I mean, some of my stuff is investigative journalism, but some of my stuff is more cultural storytelling.
You have a comedic aspect to it as well, too, though.
Yeah, I think comedy is an important part, especially when you're dealing with such heavy-handed subjects. It's important to have fun with it.
So you're a handsome man, good voice.
Thank you.
Well-read.
Thank you.
I'm assuming
you're very cute yourself. Yeah.
My point is, have you ever thought about going into like MSM, like mainstream media in America?
Well, I mean, that's what National Geographic is. I am on camera on National Geographic. So
what I'm saying is like NBC, ABC, or like
like a correspondent.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm doing for National Geographic. It's very Anthony Bourdain style, and the idea is to, hopefully get your own show and do the stories that you want to do. I mean, that's the trajectory. That's what I'm working for. I mean, I would love.
Have you had any brushes with any of that, or any experiences even, or?
Yeah, I mean, I keep coming back to that. I think National Geographic is that.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal. Obviously, stated earlier, but I was thinking more along the lines. Not that it's not commercial, But what I'm thinking along the lines is like ABC,
CNN.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah. I mean, you work towards that. That's the
You're
that's
saying
the big
your
game in the
end
sky.
game.
I think so.
Have
Yeah.
you brushed have you had opportunities to sniff around in that?
Yeah,
it's not something you're really interested
Sure.
in.
No, I've had meetings, and there's like I said, there's a lot of schmucks trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people trying to do the same thing, and there's a lot of extremely talented, knowledgeable journalists out there that all are trying to take a shot at it themselves. So,
well, who was the guy from Toronto that is now the correspondent for
George?
Trump? No, are you talking about Spurlock?
Yeah,
No, it's not.
Oh, he used to be on not much music.
Paul?
No.
The Temp?
Oh,
No.
oh.
Yeah.
What's his name?
JJ? Not JJ.
No.
He's
Anyway.
old. He's old. He's
Yeah.
he's
It's not
from
old,
Kim.
though. He's
Well,
like
it's from
50.
Kim Clark Chapman's days.
Yeah. He's from the early, from the 80s. I think he was doing Toronto Rocks.
Yeah.
Remember Toronto Rocks?
John
No.
Majors?
No.
John Majors. What's he
John
doing?
Majors.
J.D. Roberts or
J.D.
John
Roberts.
See?
Didn't J.D. Roberts die?
Oh, Jesus.
I didn't
Oh,
hear
up
about
in
it. I didn't hear
Midas.
about that.
I think J.D. Roberts died.
No.
I hope not.
Oh, my God.
I didn't hear about that.
Okay, but anyway, what are we talking
Check
about?
his Facebook page. You're on Facebook. I'm pretty sure he's the White House court, or is it John Majors?
John Majors was
Was he on much
Toronto
music
Rocks.
though? He was on.
Yeah, he was on Toronto.
J.D. Roberts was
That's
City
where I first
TV.
heard Venom. Remember that band?
Venom.
Yeah, bro.
They're the same lines as Rat.
No, they're heavy as
Heavy?
fuck.
Oh yeah, heavier. Yeah, that's right.
Heavy.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, John Roberts. John Roberts
John Roberts?
is
JD.
still alive.
And JD.
Yeah, John Roberts.
John Roberts and JD used to hang out.
No, I think they're the same person.
J.D. Roberts is one person.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're burning time here. He
Yeah,
was
so
not
what
the
we-
much. He was not Toronto Rocks. Let's see who Toronto Rocks was.
John Majors.
John Majors.
Yeah.
Who?
So where is John? Where is he right now?
Man, we're going on a tangent here.
I don't know, but I can tell you this much. We should do a documentary on this.
Yeah, sure. Investigate it. What happened to what's his name? John Major?
John Major, yeah.
All right. I don't
Pretty sure he was Toronto Rocks. That was a really city TV day.
What did you do, Jesus Town USA? What made you want to do?
Okay, well, I was very fascinated with born again Christians, and
Baptists? Are they called? Considered
just people who were living their life and then found Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always extremely fascinated by people like that, and I kind of always thought they were nuts.
Mm-hmm. And
And I wanted to learn about it, and I decided to give Jesus 40 days to show
Nice.
up in my life. So I decided I would make a movie called Jew Seeking Jesus, 40 Days. And I put a call out to Jesus. I said, hey, Jesus, if you're real, then I'm giving you 40 days and I'm going to film the entire thing. And in that process of driving across the Bible Belt of America, looking for Jesus, I came upon a small town in Oklahoma that put on the Jesus play. They built the city. They built the city of Jerusalem in the mountains.
Wow.
150 people every year for 90 years would dress up, and they would practice for 6 months to do one show once a year on the nativity play. And so I ended up living with them for 5 months, and I learned the story of Jesus.
Didn't Vice do something on this?
I'm sure Vice has
It's
done
on
stuff. Here's the thing.
On your
No, because they did something. Here's the thing with Vice, is no matter what story you want to do, no matter we're always looking at National Geographic. We're always looking for what stories we want to cover. What do we want to expose? What do we want to do? There's always a Vice. Vice has always done it. It's impossible to find a story this day and age that Vice has not done a story
now
about.
is that because they're almost citizen type journalists?
Well, they're just doing their volume is so huge.
The
So
cost
Yeah,
is
they're
so
not-
minimal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They can,
I mean, and that's their business. They're 24/7.
well,
they've
they've got
always
big
been
money
like that.
behind
Yeah,
them.
oh
too,
yeah,
like
I mean,
big money.
It's like Disney now.
Yeah. He's always been like that though.
Yeah. So it's really hard.
Always.
It's really hard to do something like that Vice hasn't done. You just have to
No, I was
do
thinking
it better
they
than
did a
Vice.
story on your
No,
doc,
they
I'm
never
pretty sure.
did. Yeah, Vice never did anything on me. Not
I
yet.
guess you would have known.
Not yet. Yeah.
It'll be on your Instagram.
But they've done something about like, you know, people who think they're Jesus, etc.
Yeah,
So anyway,
that's not your job.
Jesus Town USA was that about this community that puts on the Jesus play. And I just, you know, it's kind of like
And
a
you
spinal
stumbled
tap.
across these guys.
I wouldn't say stumble across because I went looking for Jesus.
So you
and
were shown the way.
I was shown the way.
shown the way.
I was
Yeah,
shown
that's
to,
true.
and not only did I
I'm
find
open to
Jesus,
any suggestions.
not only did I find Jesus in Oklahoma, but he was actually the guy playing Jesus, but he was actually a Buddhist.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the guy who playing Jesus, he had a secret that he was hiding from everybody, and he was a Buddhist.
That's insane.
And that like,
I haven't seen your movie.
yeah, you gotta watch it.
So I-
good.
Yeah, I just gave it away.
That's what I
That was
gonna
a
say.
spoiler.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Spoiler.
By now, anybody who hasn't seen the movie will probably never see the movie. So if you want to see a
Well, actually, I
movie,
will this weekend.
Yeah, if you wanna see a movie- if you want to see a movie about it,
Seems good too.
yeah, if you
want
to see a movie about a guy who plays Jesus in a huge Christian community, but has a secret he's hiding from everybody that he's a Buddhist. It's a funny story.
And you stumbled across this, or
I
sorry, you
no
were
stumble.
shown the
I
way.
was led the way. Jesus led me
So
to
did
Jesus.
that make you at the end? Like I said, I haven't seen it. So. Do you believe in Jesus
Are you
then?
asking me? Do I believe in Jesus?
Yeah.
Well, I made a movie that has not come out yet about if I do find Jesus or not. So for me to tell
Okay.
you whether I find Jesus or not would give away the
You can write down a piece of
ending.
paper, put it in an envelope, and I'll open it.
yeah.
What do your
After
parents,
you
what
see
do
the
your parents
movie.
think about this?
Well, the movie that I went looking for Jesus, called Jews Seeking Jesus, started with me telling my parents that I'm going to look for Jesus. So,
So your parents thought you were. Your
well,
dad's- your
they're
dad's
used
a
to it.
principal, so
They're
just
used to
like,
it. They're
well,
used
let
to
him
it.
go.
Yeah, they're used to it. They're
How
used to it.
much money do you
I'm always
Take
doing
my
stuff.
credit card.
No,
Call me
not
every
like
time
that.
you use it.
Racket. Yeah.
I like that. But yeah, no, they're used to it. I was always a troublemaker. When I was a kid, I went to a Jewish school, a Hebrew school, and a religious school, and I discovered like shirts that said "I love Jesus,"
Yeah.
and I thought they were really amazing. So I would wear them to Hebrew school, you know. And then I would get kicked out, and
think?
I just thought it was amazing because I thought, and then when Halloween or Purim, where you know it's the Jewish version of Halloween, I would dress up as Jesus. I've always had a fascination with Jesus. I've always
You're looking
loved.
for an excuse to grow your hair out.
I've always loved Jesus. You
That's
know?
very funny.
Well, a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
mean,
people
like
think-
Jesus is the most successfully marketed Jew.
Yeah.
You know, that's like it's the it's
I
like
thought he was a Jew.
well, he was. Yeah, he was the most successfully marketed religion by Jews. So,
Good
you know,
job.
Jews, the Jewish religion is exclusive. You have to be Jewish to be a Jew.
Well, your mother has to be Jewish.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be Jewish to be a Jew.
I know,
but
I'm
then,
asking, not
but
stating.
then Jesus came along, and then Jesus was a Jew, and he preached to Jews, and that religion took off. That was the one that was like, okay, this one's for the people.
But
So-
we're all his children, aren't we?
Jesus' children?
Yeah.
I don't know if it works that way.
I don't know, that's
Yeah,
what I
no, I don't think we're not the lineage of Jesus because he never had kids, according to the myth. You know.
How was he a Jew if he was
What did
black?
Mary know?
Well, they were all Jews. That's actually another story.
Israelites.
Yeah, that's another story that I've been working on recently. Is you know, on
Not
the,
black, but brown. Like,
well, no, I mean if you go through New York, you'll see groups of African Americans.
They are.
that are fifth generation. That are.
No, that are dressed in like what they think is
5%ers.
biblical. No, hear the story out. So,
Yeah.
so African Americans on the corners in New York, dressed in biblical, what they think is biblical dress, and they're yelling at people as they walk by, and they're like they're very anti-white, they're very anti-white Jews, and they're very militant people, and they've got the Bible, the Torah, and they're reading it, and they believe
Whoa.
that they're the real Jews, and the white
The
Jews.
ones in
The
Africa.
Israelite. Like
The white Jews, like my Jews, are imposters. We stole the religion from them, found them in Africa. We found the Israelites from the Bible in Africa. We enslaved them. We sent them to America. And the African Americans in America are actually the real Jews from the Torah.
It's very interesting.
And-
Sounds like you need to read some John Hancock. Or John. Graham Hancock.
Graham Hancock. That's
When he
interesting.
talks about Africa and how he runs into the black Jews in Africa and how there's belief that they have the Ark of the Covenant there.
Right.
And everybody that guards it is like goes blind, and everything. There's similarities to cancers taking over the body. So that there's this whole dialogue happening about that.
So you're making a film on this right now?
Yeah, well, I've been befriending the Black Israelites. Well, Black Israelites, they're people that they don't believe in Jews. They believe that they are the Israelites from the Bible. They're the real, like the Moses. They're the descendants of
so
the
Israelites is a description, because Israel is a place, right? I'm asking.
Right. No, Israelites are the people of
Israel
Abraham.
is a new country, right?
Yeah. That's not good. This is.
I'm not getting
I'm talking.
political at all.
I'm talking biblical.
Okay, so Israelites is what they were called.
Yeah, they were
I
the
haven't
Israelites.
read the Bible.
Yeah,
so
the
I don't know.
Israelites. Yeah,
That's
the
what I'm asking.
Israelites. Yeah, they're the Israelites. They're the
Okay.
people that the Jews now were descendants. The Jews believe that we're descendants
That's gonna
of
be a
the
crazy
Israelites.
That'd be
documentary.
very crazy.
Yeah, and the fact
takes
that
a
they
lot
were
of
like they hated me, but I worked with them, and
Isn't it weird though? How can they hate you for?
yeah,
something
no,
you
that's
haven't
what's
done?
and like I do this guy's website. I take all the pictures. I took all the pictures for his restaurant. Like I became his like
good for you.
his working Jew, and I would go to like South Central. That's where he lives, and we become good buddies. I mean, this is a guy that was telling me that at some point he was going to kill me because the Messiah will come back and entrench them to like go with machetes and kill all the people that were against them. So like there's like severe hatred towards white people and Jews, and he's my buddy. He's my buddy on Facebook. I try to provoke him as little as possible, because when he starts to write on my Facebook and people are like, "Who is this guy?" He's actually my buddy. I don't want anybody to piss him off, because I built this relationship with him, and he's my buddy.
Because you protect him.
Yeah, he's my buddy. Even though, he's my source. But he is my buddy. Like actually, I have great love for him. So even though he wants to at some point kill me, and I keep asking him like, "Can't I hide under your bed when it happens? Can't I hide in your basement?" He's like, "No, Billy, you're going to die too." And I'm like, there's no escaping this guy.
So you're not taking him serious at all.
You never, the thing with mythology and religion, you never know the truth. Mm-hmm. So I believe in spiritual insurance.
Okay.
You just have all bases covered.
So what do they call that though? Hedging your...
Yeah, you hedge your bets. Yeah. Believe in Jesus. If you're going to go to... I just don't get this about the world. If people are telling you that if you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to go to hell, why not just believe in Jesus?
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference? If you don't believe in Jesus, you might as well believe in Jesus anyways. It doesn't make it...
But if you don't believe in the Quran, you're an infidel, and you're also going to go to hell.
Right, so why not believe in the Quran? Like, what's the difference? It's all
you don't
just...
believe in one or the other.
No.
But by their standards. That's what I'm saying. You can believe in all of it. I'm saying
I think you just hedge your...
spiritually.
Yeah, I'm with you on
you
that.
hedge your bets.
Same ways.
Why get in arguments with people? If somebody's coming to you saying, "Hey, do you believe in Jesus? You're going to go to hell," you might as well just believe in Jesus. And even Jesus said, all you need to do is a mustard seed. You just need to believe in me this much, the size of a mustard seed. So why not?
I believe.
Yeah, I mean, do you believe that it's possible?
I believe there's a creator.
Yeah, but you just got to believe in a mustard seed.
I believe beyond the mustard seed.
Have you ever gotten into a conversation with a Jehovah's Witness about this? My mom's a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, really?
We talk about this type of stuff.
Geez.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they're coming to the door and stuff.
It's
Those
crazy.
are the Lego blocks we're talking about.
You want a piece?
Nah.
Come on.
Nah, I got things
Okay, we should wrap this up. The buzzer
Okay.
went off at 45 minutes.
All right, great. I mean, I'm sure
That
you
was
could
a
edit
great
some.
conversation.
You should probably just edit the Trump stuff out completely.
Nah,
Yeah,
it's going in.
all right, okay,
It's
cool.
going in.
All right.
No, no.
There's
That's the
nothing,
thing
there's
is
nothing
that-
too biased about it. It's just,
No, you were giving your
Yes.
opinion.
Yeah.
I think we're all in the same category where it's
I think when we just went
want
into
as much
at the end of the
information
day.
as possible and make our own decision.
I think when we just
Yeah.
went into like the really like the unknown stuff, I didn't even know what you guys were talking about. So
we
there's
go down
something.
really deep rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Before this, we're talking about
Yeah, you
Pizzagate
lost
and-
me.
And Alex Jones and Pizzagate
Oh,
and
yeah,
Joe
yeah.
Rogan, what they're talking about as well
Yeah.
too. Man, you can go down this if you want to go down it. We can go down it.
You gotta
I
tie
watched
off,
the
though. You gotta tie off somewhere.
I watched the Pizzagate video once. I think you shared it on Facebook.
Who was
No,
it?
no.
Seaman?
Did I?
I think
that-
so.
I don't like
that
to talk
Seaman
about that
guy?
at all. Yeah, I don't like to talk about
Yeah.
it. I don't think it was
Seaman's
me.
video.
Yeah.
I really don't like to talk about it because it's
So
very,
listen,
it's very disturbing.
What's
Yeah.
the social media contacts for people to investigate further?
Yeah, I'm on.
Maybe shoot some titles out as well for them to look forward to.
I think it's always just BillyMintz.com. You can find
Spell
everything. BILLIEMINTZ.com. I got to get used to Z again because I'm Z now.
Z?
So it's like And then, I get confused. And every time I say Z, I feel like I'm betraying Canada.
Kind of hard one.
Yeah. So BillieMintz.com, or it's Imaginator, IMAGIN, number 8, letter R, which is my, Twitter, Instagram.
So at...
Well, just Imaginator. You
Okay,
don't need ats anymore.
No?
No, because
Well, it's
Instagram...
2017.
Yeah. There's no ats anymore. Nobody's giving their email.
Instagram, the same thing?
Imaginator. It's Imaginator
Wait, it's like
across
saying
the board.
www?
Yeah, there's no
Who does that anymore?
Yeah, there's no www.
I do it still.
No.
The girls from Queen Street, they
BillieMintz.com.
That's amazing.
And any projects coming out that you can't talk about that you want
Yeah,
to
I actually just,
out?
there's a film called I Am that's coming out on the documentary channel. It's a series of 5 short films. I spent 2 months at 2 different times of the year living in a nursing home on the dementia ward. So I lived on the floor where people had dementia. Yeah, 1 month at the beginning, then a month. And so I just basically moved in and lived among people who had dementia. And just, befriended them and captured their stories, and it's to raise awareness.
It's called I Am?
I Am.
So it's on...
That would be good.
That will be on documentary channel, the documentary channel.
Okay, cool.
You should approach Bell on that.
Yeah,
For the Let's Talk.
Yeah.
That's
That's
massive.
great. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I'll take
Just
10%.
2 sided pass, but like for next year.
So listen, where can what's our social media?
Our social media, if you guys don't know, everything is the City Podcast, thecitypodcast.ca on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. So by all means, guys, if you have
and
any
if they want
questions.
to email us questions,
any questions, complaints, if we curse too much, if we are
We
not
don't
politically
curse enough.
correct, if we offended you, if we didn't offend you, we really don't care. But like, you can still complain.
I care. I care.
I
don't
care,
want to
but I
offend
really
anybody.
don't.
So what is it?
I
It's
don't.
at info.
info@thecitypodcast.ca.
I'm Steve,
And I'm Chad Cranston.
and our guest.
Billie Mintz.
And this is the City Podcast here in Toronto, Canada. And we are gone.